Hey, welcome back guys. Welcome back to the science e-learning. Alright, now after the 8th chapter, we're gonna move straight away to the 12th chapter, and the name of the chapter is Light and Shadow. Light and Shadow. That's the 12th chapter that we're gonna see. Remember students, in grade 3, I have only taught you about luminous and non-luminous objects. I have taught you this thing. The luminous objects and the non-luminous objects. Right, we have learnt about this. Now what are luminous objects? What are luminous objects? These are the objects which give out light. Objects which give out light, whereas non-luminous are the objects which do not give out light. Objects which Okay, so luminous are the objects from which we get the light. So what could be the examples? The examples could be sun, of course, torch, sun, torch, then candle, diya, etc. Whereas the examples of non-luminous objects could be, yes, anything like pen, chair, book. All this could be the examples of non-luminous objects. So basically the objects from which we get the light, they are called as luminous objects, and the objects which do not give us light, they are called as non-luminous objects. So examples are very common: sun, from sun we get the light and heat; torch, candle, diya, bulb, electric tubes, etc. Whereas the non-luminous objects can be pen, alright, pen, chair, book, any other thing, okay, duster, even chalk. These all are non-luminous objects. Now in this chapter we are going to learn the first point. This I have just revised from the previous years. Now we're going to learn the first point here. Materials and light. Materials and light. Okay, so depending upon how much amount of light the materials allowing to pass through it, there are 3 types of material, depending upon the amount of light which passes through it. Like suppose if you take example of glass, we can see through the glass, right? Why? Because it is allowing all the light to pass through it. But if we have some wooden plywood in front of us, or a paper in front of us, we cannot see through it. Why? Because no light is passing through it. And depending upon that, there are 3 types. The first one here is the transparent. transparent material, not objects. Okay, let me just make this thing. Tree chart. First one is the transparent material. So what happens with the transparent material? It allows all the light to pass through it. Okay, it allows all the light to pass through it. So if we take an example of this plastic sheet, okay, if you take an example of this plastic sheet, now I am holding the plastic sheet, but still you can see me, right? I can see you. You can see what is written on the board. In fact, you can read what is written on the board. If I am holding it here, you can read what is there on the board. Why? Because this plastic is allowing all the light falling on this surface to pass there. All right, so that is why we can read. So like this plastic, there are examples like glass. Of course, we can see through the glass, right? We can see through the glass. I'll show you one glass bottle so that you can understand. See, I have this glass bottle. You can see what is kept inside it. You can see what is kept inside it. Why? Because the light is allowed to pass through this glass bottle. Okay, so glass is one example of transparent material. Transparent means आरपार ज्याच्यातून आपल्याला दिसू शकतं असं. So what are those examples? The examples can be, like I said, glass, water. Yes, you can see through the water, of course. Some plastic sheets, clean water, of course, not a dirty water. You can see through the clean water, clear glass, some kind of plastic which I have shown you. Some kind of plastic is also example of transparent materials. Now I am going to take you to the third type of material, and then we'll come to the second type of material. All right, so the third type of material is opaque. O-P-A-Q-U-E, opaque. Okay, it's opaque. So what happens with the opaque material? It does not allow any light to pass through it. Okay, the materials that completely block the light. The materials that completely block the light. The material that completely blocks the light. All right, that will be called as opaque material. Suppose I have this piece of paper. Okay, I have one piece of paper. Now when I'm holding it here, can you see what is behind this? No, you can't see anything. Why? Because the light falling on this surface is not passed through. In fact, it is reflected back. The light is passing on the surface and it is reflected back. So you cannot see through. The light waves, the light rays, they are not passing that side. That is why you can't see from it. That is why it is said that opaque materials are the materials which completely block the light. Which completely block the light. So what are the examples of it? The examples are mud, wood, mirror, of course. Okay, yes, why mirror? Mirror shows us the image of us. Okay, we can see ourselves into the mirror, but we cannot see what is behind the mirror. Why? Because the suppose this is the mirror, I can see myself into the mirror, but I cannot say what is behind the mirror. But if we have a glass sheet here or a glass cape here, what we can do, we can see what is on the other side of the glass. All right, so in case of mirror, what happens, the light rays, they are falling on the mirror and they are returned back, they are reflected back. All right, so that is why mirror is an opaque material. Now the second type of material, okay, second type of material, it's the translucent material. The name is quite different for you, new for you. It's the translucent. Second, translucent material. So what happens with the translucent material? They allow some light to pass through them. Materials that allow some light to pass through them, such a kind of materials, they are called as translucent materials. Now many a times you have seen the glasses or windows of the mirror, they are having some brown color sheet over them, okay, or some blue color filming over them. So what happens, they are translucent, they are not allowing all the light to pass through them, okay, some amount of light is only allowed to pass. So some colored glasses, yes, some colored glasses. So examples is colored glass, dirty water, of course, so even the dirty water, you cannot see what is exactly at the bottom of the water, but you can see something, you know, a blur image you can see. In case of a clean water, you can see clearly what is at the bottom, but when the water is dirty, you cannot see what is exactly inside the water, what is at the bottom of the water, but you can have a little bit idea or have a blur image of what is there down. Okay, so if we rub a drop of oil on a paper, the paper becomes translucent. Okay, now what I have in my hand is this paper. This paper is an opaque material. So when I am holding it in front of my face, you cannot see me. Or can you see me? No, because why? The light falling on this surface of the paper, it is not allowed to come through it. It is not coming this way. Okay, so this paper is an opaque material. Now what I am going to do is, I have this piece of paper, along with I have some oil in my hand. Now I'm going to apply some drops over here. All right, and I'm going to rub it. Now, can you see through this oily patch? Yes, you can see a bit. You can see a little bit from this oily patch. So when oil is rubbed on the paper becomes an translucent material. See, through plastic you can see clearly. Okay, from this kind of paper you cannot see anything, but through this kind of paper where I have rubbed some oil, through this patch you can see a little, right? You can see a little. So this is the translucent material. Is that understood? All right, so that is about today's video, right? We've learnt about different types of material depending upon the amount of light is passed through them. Depending upon the amount of light passed through them, there are three types of material, and they are transparent, translucent and opaque. So what are transparent materials? They allow all the light to pass through them. For example, glass, water, and some kind of plastic, like what the clear polythene I have shown you, that kind of it. Translucent, these allow some light to pass through them. For example, colored glass, dirty water, or that patch of oil on a paper. Then opaque materials, these are the materials which completely block the light, you cannot see through them. Such a kind of materials, they are called as opaque materials. Now examples are mud, wood, mirror, etc. So that's it for today's video. I'm gonna see you in the next video with the second part of it, and that's the shadow. We've completed in this part about light. Now we're gonna see about shadow. So I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.